watch this, hear the track again, and then come back to this, and then it'll make more sense with what I'm saying to how the track is. But the way that it's written, I don't believe there's a lot of tracks that have been written out there like that before. Silvertongue Rascals, up the Rascals, go on! How do one and all, thanks for watching this. This is your boy Ben Random, and I am esteemed to let you know about my new music project, which is Silvertongue Rascals. We are soon to be your new favourite band. That's right, I'm in a band, I'm frontman, songwriter, and these videos are about me taking a moment to explain about what our tracks are going to be about on our upcoming EP, Fellas on a London Sesh. So do follow us on all socials other than Twitter, scrap that. Silvertongue Rascals, get behind it, get on board with it. We're here to change the game. And this track that I'm going to be speaking to you about right now is a tune called A Beautiful Bullshit Intimate Encounter. So, for those of you at the back paying attention, I sees you. You may have seen all our videos leading up to this point. Now, if you remember the first video that I did explaining about how Silvertongue Rascals came to be, I mentioned that I got binned off by a bird before we were meant to go to a festival in South Sea called Victoria's Festival. I was meant to be taking a lady friend that we were getting close to Victoria's, but she sacked me off. Put that in your noggin for a later video of why a certain tune might have been written. Now, this song may or may not be about that situation, but what I wanted to do is, there's a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Now, that is my G. Like, that book helped shape my mind, how I view stuff, and it basically teaches you that you are not your thoughts, so don't get drawn in with the tsunami that goes on in your brain. And what happened is, I meant to go to Victoria's Festival with this lass, it didn't happen. And then over the next few months, I was just like, all right, it is what it is, just allow it, do you know what I mean? But she was still on my mind. Even though I wasn't thinking about her, she was still on my mind. Do you know the difference between that? Like, it was really mad. It was like, I wasn't particularly going out of my way to think about her. It wasn't like I'd hear a song or I'd smell a scent and she was there. It was just the revolver, the mechanism of the cyclical nature of your mind just meant that she was a plate that was spinning in there. And what The Power of Now helped me to do was really notice that even though I'm not thinking about her, she's there. And I was like, all right, I need to like understand like why this is. So I wanted to write a song that was on a loop. So basically it starts, it builds, it comes back, but the way that it's written, each section of the song leads into another section, but it still has to explain the ups and downs of what was going on, but then lead back into itself to show that it was a loop, to basically demonstrate rather how my mind was at that time. So anyway, ever the eternal optimist and last bastion of romanticism, you know, I was like, all right, fair, I'll do this, but like, I'll do it with like that loving end where it could be like, it still could happen, because certain birds I'm just a bit wet and a bit of a sap. But like, this was me writing as well to be a bit of therapy, to actually get some balls and being real, like just a bit more fucking self-respect about certain situations and just being like, here, like, what you doing? Give your head a wobble and fucking move on, do you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, I'm writing this track, and I was like, yeah, it was working. It was really like cathartic, and it was good. And then I got a Warehouse Projects. I think it was 2021. It must have been. It was the year that it had Todd Edwards, Mike Skinner, Wookie, MJ Cole, Scream, Emerald, One Man, Rudimental. Like, it was like just the fucking sickest party going, right? So I'd rocked up, and my boy Mickey Slim, shout out my guy all day, man. He'd managed to sort us like in there and that, so we were just living La Vida, you know what I mean? Like living it up. And I just done one. I was just like, you know, you just feel good. You just feel like whatever's behind you's moved and you've just got space to be who you want to be and just breathe and just like be the boy. Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously the MD was about, so that was helping with that side of it, yeah. But always in my head, like, I don't know, like, I think if I'm being real now, I mean, this was meant to be about me chatting about my trap, but it's turned into therapy. But I feel like one of the things that I've been learning to disable in my own mind is my attachment issues. And what I mean by that is like always looking for the caveat, always looking for, yeah, but that could happen there, that could happen there. When it comes to birds anyway, right? So like, I'm flying high as a kite, right? I'm absolutely just on top form, do you know what I'm saying? And in my head, I'm like, oh, I could meet this lass tonight. Wouldn't it be amazing setting and surrounding and da-da-da-da-da and what have you, man? But it is what it is. And then anyway, out of the smoke, I'm telling you now, man, it was like fucking Stars in Her Eyes or some shit. Like, if you're old enough to get that reference, you get that. But like, the smoke dispersed, yeah, and there was this lass who'd like binned us off before Victoria's Festival, and like, it ain't even her music scene. So I was like shook to see her, but I was like, yo, like, it's meant to be, rare. So straight away, fucking, suppose, sold myself out again to be like, yeah, just like a little like whipped fucking bitch. And then we were chatting and this, and then like, chilling, and it was going all good, and then out of nowhere she just like got up and was like, I think we should just be friends. I was like, where the fuck, that was like an RKO, bro. It came out of nowhere, man. And I was like, in my head I was like, nah, man, I've got to like sort my shit out, because otherwise I'm just going to be palpable to these situations happening all the time. And again, like, my solitude within my writing, so I went back to this track and I started writing it, and whereas before I was going to end it on an optimistic, yeah, it could be, now I was, even though it wasn't my choice, it was her choice, but I needed to make my choice of making it end. So I had to write that as if like it was a final exclamation point of like, nah, bruv, like, don't go back, you know what I mean? Like, you're just setting yourself up, basically. So the way that the track works is that it works in a loop that brings itself back, but then as it fades itself back to a certain point back in its loop, because obviously your mind's just constantly thinking about the same thing, I needed to know where it could get out. So it goes in its loop, and then it breaks itself out of its loop, and then it analyzes itself away from the questions of thinking in a loop which is irrational, to then looking at it logically, to then seeing how the situation actually is, and then build up to a point of the track where it's a rise, almost like a euphoric release of understanding, and then just comes into this fucking drop. Honestly, the amount of time that we spent on this build, because like the way that I wanted this build to feel, I wanted it to feel like metamorphosis almost. I wanted it to feel like an actual like enlightening moment of just release. And then this drop just coming in club heavy, just like, yo, like, fuck it, mate, like, just crack on, like, it's all what it is. And that's where this track, when you get to hear it, the way that it builds and it drops. But a dude who I love his music, Tyler, the Creator, his album, Igor, there's an amazing moment at the end where it goes, are we still friends, which is the final track, and you think he's solved it. You think he's got out of his head fuzz of like his advancements to who he was interested in, but then subtly there's a lowering of the opening track as if it's ready to go in a loop again. And I have to admit, there's sometimes when I thought about messaging her and shit, even though like I know that it's no good. And I suppose it's just things that people work through when they're in certain situations of attachment or fondness or even like loneliness sometimes, you know what I mean? So, but you know it's no good. You're not doing it for the right reasons. And I would have been a liar if I would have said that I wrote this and it solved everything. So I wanted to put that in the track as well. So at the end of the track, it sounds like it could lead back into the loop, because I feel that's real important. But the ethos of the track is to break out of the loop, so it's to show that double entendre, that double angle of which way it could go in, basically. But I'm really proud about this track. I fucking love it. I really feel like when you hear the track, and then watch this, hear the track again, and then come back to this, and then it'll make more sense with what I'm saying to how the track is. But the way that it's written, I don't believe there's a lot of tracks that have been written out there like that before. It really does tell the story, even still managing to keep up its writing scheme. And as you know, the EP is Fellas on a London Sesh, which is an acronym for Falls, because me and my band, shout out Killian, we met after seeing Falls at Victoria Park. And ironically, if I would have gone to Victoria's Festival and All Points East with this lass, I would not have met Killian and my boys, which means there would be no band. So if you think about it like that, the way that the universe works is incredible. But I also wanted to give a nod to that as well. So the fact that this song is called A Beautiful Bullshit Intimate Encounter is also a nod to the acronym Fellas on a London Sesh being Falls. A Beautiful Bullshit Intimate Encounter is an acronym for Abby, which was the lass's name in question. So Abby, I wish you well. You're a good lass. I'm sure you'll miss what could have been, but I big you up, man. And life's a lesson in all things, and I just pray that this song helps other people who've been in a certain place with it, because it certainly helped me. And if no else, it's a fucking banger and it's gonna go off, I swear down. When that drop comes in, it's game, set and match. Silvertongue Rascals, up the Rascals, go on!